When my feet grow heavy and my eyes go dim, hearing fades to whispers, I know your love can heal all my sin. Thank you that you're with me. Beautiful words I hear within. Know you will restore all things. I'm sure you are my King. Bless your name, and we welcome you to join us here. We bless your name, and we welcome you to join us here. May our words be a sweet, sweet sound to your ears. May our words be a sweet, sweet sound to your ears. May our words be a sweet, sweet sound to your ears. May our words be a sweet, sweet sound to your ears. We bless your name, and we welcome you to join us here. We bless your name, and we welcome you to join us here. May our words be a sweet, sweet sound in your ears. May our words be a sweet, sweet sound in your ears. May our words be a sweet, sweet sound in your ears. May our words be a sweet, sweet sound in your ears.
So strong.
Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah our Elohim. Yahuwah is one. And you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being and with all your might. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down and when you rise up. and shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. And the second one is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hello, everybody. I hope all is well. I hope everybody can hear me just fine. I was having some difficulties earlier this week, but I think I got it fixed. So we have a really good study this evening, and I think we'll all learn a lot from it by the end of this evening. It's not quite yet Shabbat here, but Shabbat Shalom anyway. It'll be here in about another hour and a half or so. And glad to see everybody on here. I think the Natsarim in general need to come to a really good understanding who we serve. And we serve the Most High, the one living Elohim that created the Shamayim and the Eretz and all that is in it or them. And sometimes I think we need to remind ourselves of who we serve. And of course, we are servants of righteousness, and we serve the light. There's no darkness in him. There's no lie in him. And although we don't have the words to describe our Elohim, we know that he is magnificent and awesome beyond words. We know that all we can really do is marvel at his power and his greatness as far as our minds can expand and accept him. We need to work on that and exercise our minds and then our knowledge of Yahuwah to increase our belief. And so this is kind of what this evening's study together is going to be about. It'll get much deeper than that. And I'm looking forward to getting into this with you. I've been wanting to do this for a while. It just seemed to be something else come up every time, but finally going to get to go through this. A lot of reading this evening. If you have your BYNV with you, open it up. We will, our Torah portion study will be out of, let's see now, Matthew. So we'll start at Matthew 5, 6, and 7. That'll be our Torah portion this evening. And then we'll elaborate and get confirmation on a lot of the stuff that we'll be talking about through these 3 chapters. And then if we have time, at the end, I'll open it up, the invite up, and see if anybody wants to come in and discuss anything or make comments or ask questions or just give testimony or witness to something that happened to you perhaps recently, or share with everybody how you came into the knowledge of Yahuwah and became a Natsarim even. So let me greet some of the members here of the Natsarim, and then we'll get right straight into it. Monica Day, glad you're here. Monica Day. William Kennedy, glad you're here, brother. Diane, glad you're here. Torah Institute, glad you're here, Lou. Ted Boyd, glad you're here, brother. Yami and Rule, glad you're here. Ladder Rain, glad you made it. Phil, glad you're here. Phil Dickey. Jules Ann, glad you're here. Lucas, glad you're here, brother. Phyllis, I hope you're on here with Lou. If not, glad you're here. If you're listening, probably there with Lou, I imagine. All right. All right, so let's get into it, and I'll elaborate as we go through a little bit here, and see how much we can learn in a very short time period. All right. So, instead of disdain or hatred, we'll say, toward other people, Christians, any other religious sect out there, perhaps, just other people in general, who are made of the same flesh and blood as we are. Maybe we shouldn't aim our displeasures and our corrections toward them so much as toward their religious doctrine that they've been brainwashed with, which is largely based on falsehoods and deceit, men's dreams or men's teachings. But after all, it's not really their fault per se, but most of the blame falls squarely on their teachers or their leaders, perhaps, shoulders. This is the ones that are teaching them these falsehoods and deceptions. It's their fault for listening and not studying or researching on their own. But this seems to be what happens generally across the board, isn't it? Even with us, we were brainwashed and really didn't think of investigating or researching some of these matters on our own. We just accepted them and grew up and taught them to our children and passed them on down the line, which is kind of weird, but that's what we did. That's what they're doing. Well, we were once just like them. And the 2 Peter 2 explains this very well, that we shouldn't be really directing our disdain toward the people, and or a disapproval, if you will, toward them, as much as their doctrines and their teachers, right? So especially in verse 11, 2 Peter 2, verse 11, it says, whereas messengers who are greater in strength and power do not bring a slanderous accusation against them before the master. Interesting. So in other words, we should perhaps bridle our tongue and guard ourselves that we do not blaspheme Yahuwah's creatures or his creation by insulting the works of his hands as if we could do it better. If we do this, we are really directly insulting the Creator himself rather than his creation or creatures. He's more greatly insulted by our actions toward what he created, what he made. So further understanding of this matter that I'm speaking of is also found in Jude 1:9. And there it says, but Michael, the chief messenger, in contending with the devil when he disputed about the body of Mujah or Moses, presumed not to bring against him, speaking of the devil, a blasphemous accusation, but simply said, Yahuwah rebuke you. Interesting, isn't it? So we should definitely follow this example and be careful what we say about others. We're supposed to love others, even our enemy, and we're going to get into that too this evening. But Yahuwah rebuke you. That's all Chief Michael, the messenger, said to Satan when they disputed over Moses' body. He didn't call him names. He didn't tell him he was an idiot. He didn't tell him, he didn't throw a bunch of truth out there on him. He just simply said, Yahuwah rebuke you. So what's rebuke mean? Some people think that's some kind of voodoo spell you're casting on someone when you say that. And it really is not. A rebuke means to scold. It's like scolding someone in a sharp way. Okay, so it's a sharp reprimand, if you will. Okay, it's not a voodoo spell or magic spell you're throwing on somebody by saying that. And it's not something we're not allowed to say to someone. It's really, if you have someone cursing at you or doing a prank phone call, perhaps, or any kind of evil act, a simple Yahuwah rebuke you. And if they don't stop, say it again, they're going to stop. They can't hold up to that. They just can't. They're going to have to stop doing what they're doing, and they're going to know that because it's built into their conscience that they shouldn't be doing that. And your sharp reprimand is going to awaken that up in their understanding of that. And they're going to quit doing it. It's almost a sure bet that they will. So yeah. We can say that to someone if they're totally out of control or out of hand. But we sure don't want to start calling them names and acting like they're acting. We don't want to do that because what's that do? It takes our blessing away. We're going to learn about that this evening as well. So we don't want our Yahuwah to take our blessing away. We want our blessing to remain and let him take out his judgment on the wrongdoer, right? That's not going to happen if you start acting like the wrongdoer. So this is a very important point that we need to all get that. But moreover, we should expose the darkness and any falsehoods with the scripture of truth. Okay, rather than acting like them, we can quote scriptures of truth, okay, to expose their falsehoods or their darkness or their evil intentions or their evil actions toward us. But we should never commit an act of hatred by personally attacking them the same ways they're attacking us. And we especially should not attack them by cherry picking verses out of scripture that are taken totally out of context and throwing them at them just to, act like, I know like scripture, I throw all these verses at you, but it really has nothing to do with what they're saying or doing. But we're making it do that by cherry picking it out of its context and using it against them. We don't want to do that. That's wickedness too. It would help if we merely remembered to treat everyone the way we would like to be treated, to have peace with all men if possible. If not, we chance being seen as hypocrites, not only by them, but also by Yahusha. Since we ourselves were all sinners before we were brought out of the darkness into his marvelous light. So that just makes us a hypocrite by using cherry-picked verses against them or calling them names or saying you're a sinner, you're going to hell, or, you're not obedient, so you're in big trouble, boy. It makes us a hypocrite. Not only in the eyes of them, but in the eyes of our master as well. So remember, Yahusha said that we should forgive our neighbor or other people 7 times 70. That's a lot of times. And it would do us good to remove the log from our own eye before pointing out the splinter in our opponent or our neighbor's eye. Don't forget, if we begin to act like them, we lose our blessing. And perhaps Yahuwah no longer sees them as the evildoer, but maybe us. So we are commanded to love others. There's no doubt about that. We all know that. At least the Natsarim do. And yes, Natsarim, we are even to love our enemies and those who do evil against us. In Proverbs 24, verses 17 through 20, we read an astonishing passage. It says, do not exult when your enemy falls. So don't celebrate when your enemy falls, and let not your heart rejoice when your enemy stumbles. Lest Yahuwah see and it be evil in his eyes, and he turn away his wrath from him, meaning your enemy. Do not fret because of evildoers, and do not envy the wrong, for there is no future for the evildoers. We should have sympathy on them. The lamp of the wrongdoers will be snuffed out or put out. They're going to be annihilated. We should feel sympathy and sorrow for them, especially when we observe their behavior, because we can see that they're disobedient. It's a heartbreaking thing to witness, really. You just like say, stop doing that. Be good so that you don't get annihilated. I mean, we should have compassion and love and sympathy for them rather than attack them. Oh, that dang Christian. Oh, he's so stupid. Doesn't he know he's worshiping Hashatan? We were once there. Are we to be stand in front of Yahuwah as hypocrites on Judgment Day? Wow. That's a reality check, folks. So, in fact, then, our blessings are reciprocated by the same measure that we bless others with. There's no doubt about it. How we bless others is how we get blessed. How we judge others is how we will be judged. What goes around comes around. Got to remember that. If we forgive, then we will be forgiven. In fact, well, and this evening study, we're going to be all about this. Okay, we're going to study about forgiving others. If we forgive others, we will be forgiven. It's a reciprocation process. But what we give, we get. It's the same thing. We have to remember that. It's vital, really. It's vital. We're going to learn about releasing people from our curse, releasing people from debts, releasing people from the acts they've done against us. And we just can't wait till Judgment Day so we can get up in front of the throne and be a witness and send that sucker to the lake of fire, have him annihilated. Now, we need to release them of that. We need to learn to pray to Yahuwah not to call me as a witness against that person. I'm not going to witness against them, Father. Why? Because I forgive them for what they did. I release them of that crime. I'm not pressing charges anymore. And then that comes back to us. And blessing. We need to learn to bless them instead of curse them. Forgive them, release them, and bless them. You know, Yahuwah, please bless that person. That person is lost. He's hurting. He's why he's hurting other people. Please help him. Please bless that man with your knowledge, with your love, with your wisdom. Please deliver him, Father. Yeah, bless rather than curse. Oh, can you kill him? Can you get him in a car wreck? Can you make him lose his job? Do something to him, Father. Please, he hurt my feelings. What we're doing, and when we do that, is that's coming boomerang right back to us. Those same things can happen to us. If we bless him, it's up to Yahuwah. Rather, if he's going to accept our petition and grant our petition to bless our enemy, or is he going to take revenge on our enemy for our sake? That's up to him, not us. We're just commanded to love others. That's it. We're servants of righteousness, no more, no less. We don't get to go persecute other people and judge their eternity, if you will. We don't get to condemn them and curse them and all that. All we just do is hide under the name of Yahuwah, man, in a strong tower, and be servants of righteousness. That's all Yahuwah's choice. But for we're concerned, we bless them. We don't curse them. And loving others. Learn a little bit about loving others. After all, if we don't love others, how can we go to Yahuwah and stand in front of Yahuwah's face and say, I love you, Yahuwah? And he says, you do? How can you love me if you can't see me? And you hate your brothers and your neighbors and the others that you can see. They're just like you. They're made out of the same flesh and blood as you are. They're part of your race, the human race. They're not spiritual beings like me, so how can you love me and hate them? Hating them? Isn't that like hating yourself? Since you're all from the same flesh and blood? Love your brothers, your sisters, and your neighbors, and your enemies first with a pure heart, and then come to me and tell me you love me. That's what Yahuwah is talking about. We need to all wake up to that fact, Natsarim. As weird as it is, it's the truth. So, remember, when we speak truth, we are esteeming Yahusha, who is truth. And when we love others, we are esteeming Yahuwah, who is love. When we speak lies, we are esteeming the devil, who is the father of lies. And when we hate others and curse others, we are also esteeming the devil, who was a murderer from the beginning. All right. So that brings us up into our Torah portion. I hope you all are starting to see what this study is going to be about this evening. It's going to be a mind bender. So, stay attentive and try to concentrate, because we're going to get about ready to go through a lot of powerful stuff here. And the more that we can grab and hold on to, the closer we will get to Yahuwah. All right. All righty, guys. Let me see now. Anybody else come in yet? Got quite a few on here. Maria, glad you're here. AJ Johnson, glad you're here, brother. Okay, here we go. BYNV, Matthew, chapter 5, 6 and 7. Here we go. Matthew, glad you're here, brother. But when he saw the crowds, he went up on a mountain. Speaking of Yahushua. And when he was seated, his Talmudim came to him. Talmudim is students. And having opened his mouth, he was teaching them, saying, Blessed are the poor in Ruach, because theirs is the reign of the Shamayim. Blessed are those who mourn, because they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, because they shall inherit the Eretz. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, because they shall be filled. Blessed are the compassionate, because they shall obtain compassion. Blessed are the clean in heart, because they shall see Elohim. The pure in heart, the clean in heart, going to see Elohim. Blessed are the peacemakers, because they shall be called sons of Elohim. Blessed are those persecuted for uprightness' sake, because theirs is the reign of the Shamayim. Blessed are you when they reproach and persecute you and falsely say every wicked word against you for my sake. Rejoice and be glad, because your reward in the Shamayim is great. For in this way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the Eretz, but if the salt becomes tasteless, how shall it be seasoned? For it is no longer of any use, but to be thrown out and to be trodden down by men. You are the light of the world. It is impossible for a city to be hidden on a mountain. Nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it shines to all those in the house. So what's he talking about here so far? Basically, you're going to be judged or rewarded by your actions, by your works here. And it also seems to be that we are a light in the world, and we do not hide the light. What light? Well, there's only one light that gives life. The light is life. That's Yahushua. So if you have the Ruach HaKodesh in you, right, then his light comes forth out of you for all to see. And you're the light of the world now, because you got the light of life in you, the Ruach HaKodesh, or the Spirit of Yahushua. Same thing. The name of the Ruach HaKodesh is Yahushua. Let your light so shine before men, so that they see your good works and praise your Father who is in the Shamayim. Do not think that I came to destroy the Torah or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete. For truly, to complete the prophecies that were written about him in the Torah and the prophets, is what he's saying here. Did all be fulfilled? No, they were not completed. There's unfulfilled prophecy in the Torah and the prophets, speaking of his second coming, the day of Yahuwah, the tribulation years, the coming of the anti-Mashiach. For truly I say to you, and even the millennium reign, his millennium reign, it's all in the Torah and the prophets. So that means the Torah and the Tanakh is still in effect and still relevant, because there's unfulfilled prophecy in it. Matter of fact, since we're on that subject there, real quick, the Yehudai, or the Israelites that's over there in Israel right now, there's a lot of unbelievers there. There's a lot of sin and wickedness going on over there. There's also some that believe in Yahusha, but they call him the J-Man. These are mostly known as, they use the JPS, or, Jews for J-Man type deal is what they call themselves. But then there's another large sect over there that people are like Rabbinic Yehudim, or Orthodox Yehudism, that type of deal, that don't use the Natsarim writings. They still only use the Tanakh. Matter of fact, they teach not to believe in the J-Man or use the Natsarim writings. They don't believe in them. They don't use them. They're not allowed to read out of them. It's a large sect. And when you talk to these type of folks, you're not going to have any choice but to show them Yahusha out of the Torah and the prophets and the writings, the Tanakh, because they're not going to pay attention to the new writings. They're not going to let you do that, the Natsarim writings. They're not going to cooperate. So it's really imperative and essential that we learn all about Yahusha through the Tanakh. It's easy to teach Yahusha, with sort of Yahusha out of the Natsarim writings, but we Natsarim now need to learn the Besor of Yahusha through the Tanakh, by the way of the Tanakh. And it's easy to do. He's in every book. He's in every writing. Every prophet speaks of him, all the way back to the beginning, Genesis even. All right, so Natsarim, you need to research Yahusha in the Tanakh and learn of him in there, and so that you don't miss a chance to witness or testify or give the Besor of Yahusha to a modern day Israelite, or those that are over there, or even here in Orthodox Judaism circuses, because that's a religion as well. We can't forget about them, right? So we don't get to just concentrate on atheists and Christians and Muslims. I mean, we can't forget about the Orthodox Judaism people, and even some of the Messianic Jews, what they call themselves, we need to be able to speak to them plainly as well out of the Tanakh. So practice that. It's a very important thing. I think it's as far that we get into the end of the tribulation or the latter days and start going into the tribulation years, so it's going to be a very good tool for us to have. And we can find Yahusha in the Tanakh, the Besor of Yahusha, and we can also find Yahusha and the Besor of Yahusha in the Natsarim writings as well. Okay. All right. So, for truly I say to you, till the heaven and the eretz pass away, one yod or one tittle shall by no means pass from the Torah till all be done. All right. So the Tanakh is still here, and we have to use it. Get used to it. It's a powerful testimony when we can show people the Besor of Yahusha from the Tanakh. We're going to need it. Whoever then breaks one of the least of these commands and teaches men so shall be called least in the reign of the Shamayim. But whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the reign of the Shamayim. For I say to you that unless your uprightness exceeds that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you shall by no means enter into the reign of the Shamayim. Why? Because they didn't believe in Yahusha. That's why. They didn't have Yahusha. They didn't know Yahusha. They didn't accept him as their Messiah. They knew of him, but they rejected him as the Messiah, as their deliverer. All right, so that's what Yahusha's meaning here. So whoever does not teach them, he shall be called great in the reign of the Shamayim. But whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the reign of the Shamayim. All right. For I say to you that unless your uprightness exceeds that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you shall by no means enter the reign of the Shamayim. See, they were obeying the commands, you know. They were teaching the commandments and all that. They knew all that stuff. Whether or not they weren't obeying them secretly, who knows? But you know they were teaching them. Okay, so this is it's not a wide gap or division here that we can point to, but as far as uprightness exceeds that of the scribes, this is definitely speaking of believing in Yahusha and the power of his blood to wash away our sins or blot out our transgressions, our trespasses, and deliver us. And his power in us when he dwells us. That's the big secret of the scriptures, in case you don't know that. The big secret of scriptures is the Mashiach in us. At that point, it's all about Yahusha, not us anymore. That's the big secret. He does everything for us. He's the armor of light. He's the full armor of Yahuwah. Yahusha, he's everything to us. Without him, we can do nothing. Zero. All right. For I say to you that I'm sorry, I'm not going to read that third time. Back on 21. You heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not murder, and whoever murders shall be liable to judgment. But I say to you that whoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be liable to judgment. Wow. And whoever says to his brother, Rakah, shall be liable to the Sanhedrin. But whoever says, you fool, shall be liable to fire of Gehenna. See? So what we say to people, you know, it becomes extremely important. Because not only will we be judged by our works, we are also going to be judged by what? Our words, what comes out of here. That's why we don't want to go around spewing out curses and hatred toward another person, because it's going to come right back on you. And you could be liable to the fire of Gehenna because of it. We got to watch it, especially in Natsarim, man. We got to stay in our peace and our joy, stay level-headed, bridle our tongues, walk humbly among our brothers, among others, with Yahusha, as he did. Yahusha didn't destroy anybody because they were calling him names and being mean to him and wanting to destroy him and throw rocks at him and wanted to kill him. I don't remember him going, "Be gone, all of you," and they all turned to dust because he got mad at them. I don't recall that at all. I just recall him humbling himself and walking away. Matter of fact, it says he remained silent even to the stake. Doesn't it say that? Yeah, it does. And we're walking in the true pattern of Yahusha. We have to learn his ways and reciprocate his ways or mimic his ways the best we can. It's hard if we let it be hard. It's easy if we continuously think about him and pray to him continuously, and he's continuously on our mind, it becomes easy. If then you bring your gift to the altar, and there you remember that your brother holds whatever against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First make peace with your brother, and then come and offer your gift. So he don't even want you to offer anything to him if you have some kind of conflict with another person. And by this, I'm saying that you are holding his transgression against you to heart. So you have not forgave him, you have not released him, you have not blessed him, you are not loving him, you are vengeful, hatred, cursing him. You don't want, you just hate the guy, man, or the girl, whatever. See what I'm saying? And all these foul thoughts and things coming in through your mind, out your mouth about them. And then you go in there and want to give something to Yahuwah. He doesn't want it. Obviously, what we just read. What he wants you to do is forgive, release, bless, and love that person that you're hating so much. That's what he wants. That's a perfect sacrifice as far as he's concerned. Be well-minded with your opponent promptly while you are on the way with him, lest your opponent deliver you to the judge, and the judge to the officer, and you be thrown into prison. Okay, this is a literal statement, but we can very well and easily, Natsarim, see this as a spiritual example as well. Who's the judge? There's only one law-governed, one judge that can save and destroy. So at least your opponent delivers you to the judge, Yahuwah, and witnesses against you to the judge, and he throws you into prison, throws you into the lake of fire. I can easily see the spiritual side of that. Truly I say to you, you shall by no means get out of there till you have paid the last penny. You heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not break wedlock. But I say to you that everyone looking at an Asha to lust for her has already broken wedlock with her in his heart. And if your right eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out and throw it away from you, for it is better for you that one of your members perish than for your entire body to be thrown in Gehenna. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away from you. For it is better for you that one of your members perish than for your entire body to be thrown into Gehenna. And it has been said, whoever puts away his Asha, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that whoever puts away his Asha, except for the matter of whoring, makes her break wedlock. Wow. And whoever marries an Asha who has been put away breaks wedlock. Again, you heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform your oaths to Yahuwah. But I say to you, do not swear at all, neither by the heaven, because it is Elohim's throne, nor by the Eretz, for it is his footstool, nor by Yerushalayim, for it is the city of the great sovereign. Nor swear by your head, because you are not able to make one hair white or black. But let your word yes be yes, and your no be no. And what goes beyond these is from the wicked one. Ooh, now that's powerful. Listen to that. And what goes beyond these is from the wicked one, beyond yes and no. So, wow, we should limit our commitments to yes or no, and then we should have enough integrity and enough love and responsibility for someone. If you say you're going to do something, then we need to do it. If we said yes, we need to make sure we do what we said yes to. Same as no. We need to have integrity and be trustworthy in order to be called the children of Yahuwah. We need to be like him. So no taking an oath and swearing, I swear by Yahuwah, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. You see, he doesn't want you to do that. That's fairly clear, I think. You have heard it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, which was what? That's revenge. This is speaking of revenge now, or retaliation. Revenge, retaliation. This is what this is speaking of. And you've heard it by who? Not by Yahuwah, by men. It's men's teachings. Revenge, retaliation is men's teachings. Okay? But I say to you, do not resist the wicked. Wow. But whoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn the other to him also. And he who wishes to sue you and take away your inner garment, let him have your outer garment as well. And whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Give to him who asks of you, and from him who wishes to borrow from you, do not turn away. So if you're capable, if somebody comes and asks you, help them. If they need something, give it to them. Don't think about getting it back either. Give it to them with the thought in your mind, I'll probably never see this again, but I don't care. It's more important to me that I help this person and give them what they're asking of me. Well, your reward in the Shamayim is going to be great if you have that type of mindset towards someone. If you lend somebody $100 and they don't pay it back, and then you just sit there and discuss it with them, you talk about them all the time because they didn't pay you back, you're not going to have any reward in the Shamayim. Matter of fact, you might get yourself in trouble. That'd be the opposite. You have heard it. You heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. Now, who said that? Was that in the Tanakh? Was that Yahuwah that said that? No. This was also men's teachings. This is also men's teaching, not Yahuwah's teaching. But I say to you, love your enemies. Bless those cursing you. Do good to those hating you. And pray for those insulting you and persecuting you, so that you become sons of your Father in the Shamayim, because he makes his sun rise on the wicked and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. All right. This is powerful, man, because can you imagine loving somebody that's your enemy? Not loving their actions or perhaps what they have done to you or said about you, but loving them as a creature of Yahuwah and a blood relative of yours, because we're all related. We're all the human race. It's made of the same flesh and the blood. And blessing those who curse you, instead of you cursing them back, you bless them and do good to those that hate you and pray for those insulting you and persecuting you. Have we done this, Natsarim? Have we? I think most of us have, and if we haven't, we all should, because the power in this is dramatic. It really is. It will bring blessings upon blessings to us. And we don't even have to ask for them. I mean, this is love, man. This is what we call love in action here. This isn't lip service. This takes guts. It takes a lot of love, a lot of understanding, and self awareness and self-control enough to realize I don't want to be like that person. I'm going to do the opposite that person does so that I can be perfect like Yahuwah. Does Yahuwah hate people because they're doing the things they're doing? No. He hates the things they're doing. He hates the sin, but he loves them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. They're here on this earth with us because he loved them before he created anything. He loved them and knew them. If he didn't, he wouldn't have made them. Does he know that they were going to sin and betray him and betray their brothers? Yes, he absolutely knew it. So why did he make them? Because he loved them so strongly that he wanted them to have a taste of his life-giving breath. He wanted them to experience existence and life like he had. That's how much he loved them, even though he knew they would fall and betray him, and he would eventually throw them in the lake of fire, where there's going to be gnashing, whipping, and gnashing of the teeth. The outer darkness, total annihilation, like they never existed. Probably be totally erased from all memory of history in our minds. Probably won't even remember them. Be totally gone. Total annihilation. But they're here because he loves them. Wow, huh? For if you love those loving you, what reward have you? None. See? None. That's what I'm talking about. You have no reward. Unless you do this, but they said back here. Love your enemies, bless those cursing you, do good to those hating you, and pray for those insulting you and persecuting you. Now, do you have a reward? You better believe you do. Blessings upon blessings beyond our imagination in this world and the afterlife. You better believe it. You don't believe it? Try it. Have you even tried it? For if you love those loving you, what reward have you? None. Are the tax collectors not doing the same too? Yes. And if you greet your brothers only, what do you do more than others? Nothing. Are the tax collectors not doing so too? Yes. Therefore, be perfect as your Father in the Shamayim is perfect. What does that mean? Perfect in love, man. His love is perfect. His truth is perfect. His healing is perfect. His longevity is perfect. His wisdom is perfect. His prosperity and wealth is perfect. His giving is perfect. We need to be perfect like him. Some say it's impossible. I say not. We only need to concentrate on him 100% continuously. Think about him continuously. Pray to him continuously. Keep our eyes and ears in his scriptures of truth, and we can be perfect as he is perfect. Why am I saying that? Because scripture says so right there. Therefore be perfect, as your Father in the Shamayim is perfect. If we could not be perfect, why is he giving us the command to be perfect? Because it's attainable. That's why the command is in here. It's just a change of mind. It's syncing our minds with Yahusha's mind. Become Yahusha. What? That's impossible? No, it's not impossible, Natsarim. When the Ruach HaKodesh immerses us, and he lives and dwells in us and writes his words on our hearts and puts them in our minds, and he's living in us, he has our Ruach sealed for the day of redemption. He's written his name on us. We belong to him now. We're his treasured possession. Yeah, what have we become? We have become Yahusha. What? You don't believe it? We are. The whole entire body of the Natsarim. The body is his body. He's the head. It's his human form. He's the head, Yahusha. We're the body. We're his body. We have become him. We are the walking Torah. We are Yahusha. Give your will over to him completely, and you will be the walking Torah. You will be the word of Yahuwah. We are the children of light. We're not the children of the flesh. We're not the children of the darkness. We're children of light. We have become his children. We have become his body. We have become his temple. We are the living stones that build up his temple. We're the body. We're the temple. We have become Yahusha. We can be perfect. If we couldn't, then why is he commanding us to be perfect? Because it is attainable. Come on, Natsarim. That's why the body has to be united as one body, under one head. Chapter 6, Matthew. Beware of doing your kind deeds before men, in order to be seen by them. Otherwise, you have no reward from your Father in the Shamayim. So beware of doing your kind deeds before men, in the presence of others, in order to be seen by them. Well, I want people to see that I'm a good person. I'm going to help this person out or whatever. Okay, so you don't want that mindset. It's not so much important that somebody sees you or doesn't see you doing it, but it's in your mindset. You're doing it so others can see you, so that they esteem you or pat you on the back or, say that you're a good person or whatever. That's the problem. All right, and we don't want to do that. No. Otherwise, you have no reward from your Father in heaven. So there goes your reward again. Bye-bye reward again, right? Thus, when you do a kind deed, do not sound a trumpet before you as the hypocrites do. I mean, you ever see them get on TV and make a big deal out about your soup lines and giving people clothes or something? Or food, they make a big deal out of it and put it on national television for everybody to see how great they are, and they send us more money. You see what great job we're doing. Send us some more money so we can do more good things. They're sounding a trumpet in the congregations and in the streets to be praised by men. That's why they're doing it. They want to be praised by men. Truly, I say to you, they have their reward. So that's the reward, the praise from other men. Nothing from Yahuwah, nothing in the reign of the Shamayim. They've already got their reward. So we want to store up our treasures in the Shamayim, Natsarim, not on the earth. Those rewards, that type of reward's not going to do us any good at all. But the rewards that we pile up in the Shamayim will become blessings upon us in the afterlife, in the reign of Yahuwah. Here's where we want to store our riches and our rewards, right? And we're on an agreement of that, I'm sure. But when you do a kind deed, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your kind deed shall be in secret. So be humble. Do it humbly, in secret. No boasting. No, don't even think about it. Just do it with a blank mind, You don't even want to think about how good you are for doing what you're doing. You just want to blank it out, man. So that your kind deed shall be in secret, and your Father who sees in secret shall himself reward you openly in this life and the next life. And when you pray, you shall not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the congregations and on the corners of the streets, to be seen by men. Truly, I say to you, they have their reward. So there you go. They got their reward, the praise of other men. And we don't want to do that. We want to be rewarded, or we want our petitions granted by Yahuwah. We need to go to the secret place and ask of him secretly to help us, to help others, to help our loved ones, to help the Natsarim, to heal the Natsarim. Yeah. That's why I have just a little bit of a hard time when people ask for prayer requests on Zoom at noon, or something like this, because this here stands in my mind. Are we really going to be rewarded by Yahuwah if we do this? Or is this going to be our reward because listen how good I can pray? Listen how I sound when I pray. It's dicey, man, to me. They have their reward when they pray in the congregations and on the street corners. You ever see somebody at a restaurant sitting there praying before they eat in front of everybody? They're probably, to me, they're just doing that for attention. That's what I think. Or you see somebody sitting at a bus station, playing with the rosary beads. Why are they doing that out in public? Repetition, prayers, one after another, Hail Marys or whatever they're doing. Because they want to be seen by men. They're getting their reward. They want you to look at, ooh, that person's made of the cloth. They're a holy person. Ooh. Maybe I should take off my shoes. I might be on holy ground because they're sitting there playing with that rosary. That type of deal, Yeah, it's risky. It's dicey for sure. But when you pray, go into your room, and having shut the door, pray to your Father who is in the secret place. Where's the secret place? In his temple, right? Yeah. The secret place is in his temple, in the Holy of Holies. And who have we become? His temple. The secret place. And your Father who sees in secret shall reward you openly. He knows your heart. He knows exactly what's going on, what you're doing. Can't fool him. He knows your intentions. And when praying, do not keep on babbling like the foreigners, for they think that they shall be heard for their many words. Therefore, do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. So this seems to be telling us or teaching us that we should be precise and to the point when we pray for things. And I think even our petitions as well. there's a really good prayer example in Daniel, and in that Daniel in the beginning does a whole lot of confessing. He confesses for a long time, and then he gets down to what he wants. It's very brief and precise. And then he exalts Yahuwah as well. So maybe this is what we should be doing. It sounds like it to me. This then is the way you should pray. So now Yahushua's going to give us an example of what he's been talking about. And it says, our Father who is in the Shamayim. So he's acknowledging the Father and his greatness. Let your name be set apart. Now he's blessing his name. Should we bless Yahuwah's name? Absolutely. Should we bless Yahuwah? Yes. Should we bless his name? Absolutely. We should esteem his name in our prayers. It's the second thing he did. Let your name be set apart. Let your reign come and your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, which is perfection. There's no diseases. There's no poor people. There's no poverty. There's no starvation. There's no war. There's no killings. There's no muggings. There's no murders. There's no slanders. Nothing like that in the reign of Yahuwah. Okay, in the Shamayim. So we want it to, those blessings that come down upon us on the earth and be the same. No diseases. We want to be totally well. We want to be restored. We want to be healthy. We want healing. We want longevity. We want wisdom. We want peace, joy, and truth. We want prosperity. We want wealth. We want to live a good life, free of darkness and wickedness, the same as what's in the Shamayim. It's what we're saying here. Or what Yahushua's teaching us to ask for. That's our portion. Our portion isn't what's here on this carbon-copied world we're living in. Our portion is part of the Shamayim, the reign of Yahuwah. That's our portion as his children of light. And that's what we ask for. It's his will. We only merely need to ask. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Forgiving our debtors is huge. We will be blessed. We will have a great reward. And do not lead us into a trial, but deliver us from the wicked one, because yours is the reign and the power and the esteem forever. Amen. Okay, so here's a little footnote by Lou White, the translator here, says pray is palal in Hebrew, and that there's different types of prayer. There's praise, there's thanksgiving, there's intercession, that means praying for someone else, and requests or petitions according to his will or his word. When you pray according to his word, big things happen. If you pray according to your desires, wants, and your will, nothing happens. When you forgive, release, bless, and love others, are you not in his will? Yes, you are, and big things will happen. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father shall also forgive you. See how important that is? Vital. Well, this is basically paraphrasing here. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father shall also forgive you. But if you do not forgive men their trespasses, neither shall your Father forgive your trespasses. This is a vital. extremely powerful stuff here, man. I mean, think about that right there. If we paraphrase this, what's it saying? Really, is that what we do comes back on us. We are judged by how we judge others. So what it's really saying, what goes around comes around. What we do comes back to others, comes back on us. Maybe sevenfold. Who knows? Maybe 100. This is vital. Now, let's look at, turn to James real quick. James 4, if you will. James 4. It's right after John, if you're in the BYNV. Let's look at James 4, 11 and 12 real quick. It says, brothers, do not speak against one another. He that speaks against a brother and judges his brother speaks against Torah and judges Torah. And if you judge Torah, you are not a doer of the Torah, but a judge. There is one lawgiver and judge who is able to save and to destroy. Who are you to judge another? Powerful, man. We need to forgive so that we can be forgiven, not judge someone. If we do that, we're going to be judged by the same exact merits that we judge them. You should realize that. Look at James 2. Go to James 2, 8, 9, and 10. If you truly accomplish, this is how important it is. If you truly accomplish the sovereign law according to the scriptures, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. It's a second command. It's a vital command because all the Torah and the prophets hang on these two commands, the first and the second. This is the second. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. So even if you're able to accomplish this and implement this command in your life perfectly, okay, you do well. But if you show partiality, you commit sin, being found guilty by the Torah as offenders. For whosoever shall guard all the Torah and yet stumble in one point, he is guilty of all the command, violating all of them. That puts shivers on me. That's not a joke, man. That's something to take that's a very serious matter. And so is this. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father shall also forgive you. But if you do not forgive men their trespasses, neither shall your Father forgive your trespasses. How important is forgiveness, release, and blessings, and love? Don't you see they become extremely important for your deliverance and for your survival into the reign of Yahuwah, and survival from the lake of fire, deliverance from the lake of fire? It becomes extremely vital. We have to wake up to this, Natsarim. And when you fast, do not be sad-faced like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces so that they appear to be fasting to men. They're getting a reward. The same thing. They want to be esteemed by man, seen by man. Truly, I say to you, they have their reward. They're not going to get another reward from Yahuwah. They're missing out on Yahuwah's rewards, man. You got to be kidding me. You're going to trade a reward from Yahuwah so that you can be seen by men for doing something? What? That doesn't sound like a very good trade to me. It sounds like you're getting the short end of the stick. But you, when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that you do not appear to men to be fasting, but to your Father who is in the secret place. And your Father who sees in secret shall reward you openly. You can see your heart. You can read your intentions of your heart. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on the earths, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in the heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart shall be also. That's what we were speaking about just a little few minutes ago, right? We want to lay up our rewards. We want to gather and collect Yahuwah's rewards and lay them up into the Shamayim, not the rewards of men seeing us do things for our own esteem. Nah, that's not a good trade at all. For where your treasure is, there your heart shall be also. So your heart will either be among the dust, among the flesh, possessions and treasures of the flesh, or in the Shamayim, Yahuwah's rewards. If your heart is in expectation for his rewards and anticipating him coming back and you get your rewards, then your heart's in the right place. Where's your treasure? With Yahuwah. You're waiting on him to bring them and give them to you, whatever they are. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, all your body shall be enlightened. That means you don't look at somebody with lust or hatred or, as a target or that you can do something, get something out of. You look at people with love. You have love for them in your eyes when you see them. And you're seeing them as Yahuwah sees them through your eyes. You're seeing it from Yahuwah's perspective and how Yahuwah sees those people. And you look at them, you should have a little twinkle in your eye for them. You should love them because they're sons and daughters, creatures of Yahuwah, who he loves dearly, or they wouldn't be here with us. But if your eye is evil, all your body shall be darkened. If then the light that is within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? Wow. Hey, you don't have Yahuwah in you, man. If you're seeing people that way, you don't have Yahuwah in you. You look at somebody, you get the evil eye on them. You look at them with disgust and hate. That's looking at them with a dark eye. You have darkness. It says here, how great is that darkness? Very great. Why? Because you don't have Yahuwah in you, man. You don't have the Ruach HaKodesh if you're looking at people that way. If your flesh tries to take over and it glocks onto somebody and you start getting that evil eye, you need to check yourself real quick. Get rid of that and say, I have to love them because Yahuwah loves them. They're Yahuwah's people. Yahuwah made that person. I love that person because I love Yahuwah. Then that darkness will fade and go away and it'll be exposed by the light that's in you. Don't forget, we have a daily battle with darkness or with the flesh, but as we battle the flesh daily over time, it becomes weaker and weaker and weaker, and we become stronger, stronger, stronger light. And pretty soon there's no more darkness in us. We become perfect like Yahuwah. That's why the full armor of Yahuwah is what? The light, Yahusha. Of course. What do you think it is? A tin helmet and a metal shield and a real sword that can cut somebody's head off? No. That's just figures of speech, man. It's really Yahusha. It's all Yahusha. We can do nothing without Yahusha. No one is able to serve two masters, for either he shall hate the one and love the other, or else he shall cleave to the one and despise the other. You're unable to serve Elohim and riches. Because of this, I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you shall eat or drink, or about your body, what you shall put on. It is not life more than the food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the heaven, for they neither sow nor reap nor gather into storehouses, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not worth more than they? And which of you by worrying is able to add 1 cubit to his lifespan? So why do you worry about clothing? Note well the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin, and I say to you that even Solomon in all his esteem was not dressed like one of these. But if Elohim so clothes the grass of the field, which exists today and tomorrow is thrown into the furnace, how much more you, O you of little belief? Do not worry then, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For all these the nations seek for, and your heavenly Father knows that you need all these. But seek first the reign of Yahuwah and his righteousness, and all these matters shall be added to you. Do not then worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow shall have its own worries. Each yom has enough evil of itself. Wow, right? Wow. I think we're all kind of familiar with that passage. So what does this mean? Trust Yahuwah. That's what it means. Stop trying to figure it all out. Hand it over to Yahuwah. Do what Yahuwah calls you to do. Listen to Yahuwah. That's what it means. The more trust that you have in Yahuwah, and you don't try to go out on your own accord and do things to make things happen, the more Yahuwah will do things for you. I know it's a hard thing to grasp, but it's so true. Okay, we just need to turn everything over to him and believe that he's going to take care of everything for us. If it's his will that we perish or we become street people and poor and perish, then that's what's going to happen to us. But if it's his will that we prosper and be in health and become givers like him, because he has overflown our cup out to others to help as many people as possible through us, and we've become givers like him, if that's his will, then that's what's going to happen. We only need to trust in Yahuwah and rely on Yahuwah for our lives, for our existence, for our purpose, for his will to be done in our lives. Yeah, very powerful passage here. Wow. So don't even worry about tomorrow, what's going to happen in your future. So don't even worry about that. Every day is going to have its own problems. So just don't even bother with it till tomorrow. It's like, Rome, right? Rome was built one brick at a time, my citizens. If they worried about how they were going to build everything, then they probably would have all died of stress, anxiety, heart attacks, but instead they laid one brick at a time, day by day, and pretty soon Rome existed, right? Same thing in your life, except we're not building Rome, we're building the reign of Yahuwah, and then we're servants of righteousness. We're building up his temple, and as we work for him, he's going to take care of us. We just need to believe in his power to do so. Chapter 7, do not judge, lest you be judged. For with what judgment you judge, you shall be judged. And with the same measure you use, it shall be measured to you. See, there it is. That's why, we we got to be extremely cautious, really, of what we're doing, because if we start judging what others are doing and deciding ourselves whether they're worthy of deliverance or if they're worthy of to go into or they're unworthy and should go into the lake of fire, what are we doing? We're trying to act like we're the ultimate power, the judge, the lawgiver, the creator, and we're not. We're not allowed to do them kind of things. We're servants of righteousness. Was Yahusha, did he come to judge the first time? No, he did not. He will judge in the second coming. He'll be the judge, but he didn't come to judge the first time. He came to help, to be our deliverer, to bring us out of darkness into the light. And that's what we need to do. We don't need to be judging people. We need to try to help them come out of the darkness into his marvelous light. That's what we want to do. And if we get hurt along the way, then we forgive, release, bless, and love. Okay. And that, according to that measure that we're using, is how it'll be measured to us. See? And so what will we receive from acting that way? Forgiveness, release, blessings, and love. By the way, Yahuwah is love. See it? And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log in your own eye? Yeah, in many cases, we're worse than the person that we're locking in on and acting like they're doing something wrong. You know what's horrible is not being an eyewitness to an event, but yet accusing someone of doing wrong things, acting wicked, and being fraudulent and deceiving because we don't understand what happened to them fully, and we weren't there to see it, but yet we judge them according to our understanding. That's bad. Not only are you calling out the speck in their eye, you're totally neglecting the log in your own eye, which makes you a hypocrite, a big hypocrite. We all know how Yahusha felt about hypocrites, and we are also directly violating the 9th commandment. Which is a sin to death. You see, there are sins to death and there are sins not to death. If we see a brother or sister sinning not to death, say they're smoking some pot or getting a little tipsy on some wine, we can pray to Yahuwah intercession prayer for them about that, and he will forgive them of that sin through you. Did you know that? But if it's a sin to death, then we shouldn't pray about that. That's fallen over into Yahuwah's ballpark. We want nothing to do with that. That's all Yahuwah there. What's a sin to death? Breaking the 10 commandments, breaking your marriage vow, going out whoring on your husband. That's going to put you right in the lake of fire. And even if you have the Ruach HaKodesh in you, and you're doing well, and then all of a sudden you start sinning to death, committing all these sins to death. Say you join the temple of Satan, you start bowing down, worshiping Hashatan or idols, bringing idols into your house and bowing down to them. I think the Ruach HaKodesh is going to depart from you rather quickly and leave you by yourself to your own devices. Then what's going to happen? Well, that's a sin to death, so you're going to the lake of fire. So there's sins to death and there's sins not to death. We can pray about the ones not to death, but not for the sins to death. Okay? That's between them and Yahuwah now. We're taken out of the equation. All right. And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eyes, but do not notice the log in your own eye? That makes you a hypocrite. Or how is it that you say to your brother, let me remove the speck out of your eye, and see, a log is in your own eye? Now, best to be quiet, because here comes the big announcement now. Hypocrite! Verse 5. Hypocrite! See what I'm saying? Man, we got to be careful what we say and do, especially towards other people, man. You know, just serve Yahuwah, man. Be a servant of righteousness. Be a child of light. Be perfect in love like he is, you know, and forget about all this other stuff. Do you not know that Yahushua knows, or Yahuwah knows who his sheep are? Then they were chosen before the foundations of the earth. The Lamb was slain before the foundations of the earth, meaning he's already delivered the ones, knows who he's delivering before he even created anything. Why do we have to act that way towards others? We do not. That's been injected into our brain through false teachers. You know, unless you're got a good haircut and you're totally shaved, you're wearing a $10,000 suit and you got shiny shoes on, you know, you're not delivered. You know, you're a good person if you look like that. If you look like Mark August, you're a horrible person. That's what we're taught. And that's how we judge, because of what we were taught by uninformed teachers our whole life from childhood. Ridiculous, because it's so far from the truth, it ain't funny. You know, it's like this. They've already said this. It's out there. Most of us have probably heard this before. You can take a Hell's Angel type looking person, we'll just say, and the person is nice to you, maybe stops and helps you with a flat tire or something. It looks like it came from the bowels of hell, helps you out, and takes off. And then there's a guy that comes in with nice haircut, no beard, nice suit, shiny shoes. You think he's the greatest guy going, nice family man, goes to church every Sunday and Wednesdays. But yet all of a sudden he turns out to be a child molester, a murderer, a mass murderer, robs old people, old folks of their inheritance, of their bank money, has them sign over attorneyship to them, and they steal their money. And so they're monsters inside. We can't judge. It's impossible for us to be judges. Hypocrite. Do not give what is set apart to the dogs, nor throw your pearls before the pigs, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. So this is basically speaking of knowledge of Yahuwah, truth. Things like this, we have to be careful, because if we go out among the heathen or the say Satan worshipers or someone and start speaking truth to them, they ain't going to want to hear that truth. Because why? They're not serving truth. They're not servants of righteousness. They're servants of unrighteousness. They don't love life. They love death, you know, and so they don't want to hear it. So they beat you up. So if they knew, and if you did talk to them and you learned them and they taught them righteousness and truth, and they acted upon it and did everything they were supposed to do, then Yahuwah would have to deliver them. So it's an idiom, but it's what it basically means. Is sometimes when we know a lot of truth, sometimes we need to just keep it to ourselves, And some things we need to reveal, some things we need to keep to ourselves. It's kind of like scriptures. The scriptures is literal, written down literal for everyone to read. That will, once, has a will to read it, they can read it and they can understand it, on a literal basis. And there's different depths of literal as well. I know people that's taken the literal meaning in scriptures to the max. I mean, mind-blowing understanding of the literal. Some only understand the literal a little bit, But then there's a spiritual meaning in this scriptures. And that can only be taught to us by who? Yahusha. He can open up our minds to understand scriptures, which means the spiritual aspect of the scriptures, the spiritual meaning, the heavenly matters within the covers of scripture. It's kind of like the same thing. It's best to speak to them about literal, not to cast your pearls, your secrets to them and the spiritual matters. Because there's danger in it if you do. It's kind of a warning, really. It's kind of warning us. There's danger in it if you do. Stick to the literal. Speak to the small talk, The ones that hear, then he calls them out. Then they start eating it up, They drink the milk, they get into the meat and potatoes. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened to you. Seek in his word and you will find truth. This is a footnote Lou's got on here. I would say diligently search for the truth, man. And truth, when you find truth, it will lead you to love, and then you'll find love, and then it'll be the completion of the Torah. Love is the completion of the Torah. Okay. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it shall be opened. Opening is a revealing of truth, a revealing of the delusion. You stick your head out of the delusion and see reality for once in your life. Or is there a man among you who, if his son asks for bread, shall give him a stone, or if he asks for a fish, he shall give him a snake? If you then, being wicked, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more shall your Father who is in the Shamayim give what is good to those who ask him? Therefore, whatever you wish men to do, do also to them, for this is the Torah and the prophets. Enter in through the narrow gate, because the gate is wide and the way is broad that leads to destruction. And there are many who enter in through it, because the gate is narrow and the way is hard pressed, which leads to life. And there are few who find it. Okay, so there, in order to find the hard-pressed, narrow way that leads to life, and up here in 12, keeping it in context, it tells us that whatever you wish men to do, do also to them. For this is the Torah and the prophets. So what does that mean? This is. I mean, basically, you've learned the lesson. Basically, you've learned the lesson of what the Torah and the prophets are trying to teach you. And that is to love others and be kind to others and forgive others and release others and bless others and love others. That's what it is. I mean, if whatever you wish men to do to you, you do also to them, right? What is that saying? That means what your actions are are going to come back on you. What goes around comes around. It's what Yahushua's trying to tell us here. Whatever you do, whatever your works are, what your words are towards others is what's going to happen to you. That's basically what he's saying. So whatever you want to happen to you, do to others. And then it's going to happen to you. But if you do to others that you don't want to happen to you, then guess what? That's what's going to happen to you. It's a boomerang. It's going to come back on you. You're not going to get what you want. You're going to get what you cursed them with coming back on you. This is a powerful stuff here now. This needs to sink in, because what we do to others is we're going to get in our life. If you're sitting there saying, man, nothing good's happening for me, man, but yet you go out and think bad about others, curse others, you don't do nothing for others, you even do things bad toward others, all that is coming right back into your life. And that's why you're sitting there miserable. This is a powerful thing to get, folks. This is what this evening's all about. The big message of the night is, whatever you want to happen in your life, do that to someone else, and then he'll do it for you. There's your big lesson for this evening. Glad you're here, Brother Wick. Love you, man. Critex 13, glad you're here. Sandra, glad you're here. Yeah, heavy duty stuff, right? It's the lesson of the Torah and the prophets, folks. Whatever you do to others, if you forgive others, you'll be forgiven. If you release others, you'll be released. If you bless others, you'll be blessed. If you love others, you'll be loved. If you give peace to others, you'll receive peace. If you want prosperity and wealth, help other people out. And then it's all going to come back on you, blessings upon blessings. You've completed, you fulfilled the Torah and the prophets. You've learned your lesson well if you understand these things we're talking about this evening. But beware of the false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are savage wolves. By their fruit you shall know them. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes, or figs from thistles? Yeah, so bad fruit is what? Hypocrites. They hate others. They hold grudges. They say curses over their lives. They gossip about them. They slander about them. They tell perform false and malicious witnessing against others about things they never saw or they weren't an eyewitness to it. They're just assuming. Do we not know that 99% of the time that we assume something, we're wrong? Assuming can be a dangerous thing. So they're hypocrites. They try to shame others with falsehood, lies, deceit, curses, cherry pick verses and try to apply it to them, to shame them. Well, a verse in scriptures is not allowed to be picked out of there, cherry picked and applied to someone's life in order to shame them. That's not what that verse was for. Put that verse back in context where it belongs and leave it there. We're not allowed to do that. So every good tree yields good fruit, but a rotten tree yields wicked fruit. A good tree is unable to yield wicked fruit, and a rotten tree to yield good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. What fire? The lake of fire. That's what fire. This is very spiritual here. Okay. Need spiritual insight to understand this. This is literal, but it's really heavily spiritual insight that we can receive here if we understand this. Every tree that does not bear good fruit or does not produce, increase the reign of the Shamayim or the reign of Yahuwah, okay, does not bear good fruit. Fruit to Hebrews can be children, can be fruit. Fruit can also be an increase in the body of Yahuwah or the reign of Yahuwah, an increase in the members, is cut down and thrown in the fire. So if you do not bear good fruit, and you're fruitless or childless, or you haven't brought anybody else into the kingdom with you when you show up, it may be a fairly good chance that you're going to be cut down or you're going to be removed and thrown into the lake of fire. So I'll be trying to bring at least one person with me when you are resurrected, or you become into the reign of Yahuwah. You better have your arms around somebody. Here's my fruit. Here's my fruit, Yahuwah. Good and faithful servant, enter in to the reign of my Father. You show up by yourself, man, I don't want to tell nobody, man. Anytime I try to tell somebody, they punch me in the nose. I'm just kind of scared to even talk about it, really, Yahuwah. But I obeyed you. Let me in. You might say, oh, you wicked and unfaithful servant, you lazy servant. Cast him and throw him out and bound him up and throw him out into the lake of fire where there'll be weeping and gnashing of the teeth. Throw him into the outer darkness. He's lazy and worthless servant. He brought no one with him. That's kind of what this is hitting on. So then by their fruit you shall know them. Not everyone who says to me, Master, Master, shall enter into the reign of the Shamayim, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the Shamayim. Many shall say to me in that yom, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and done many mighty works in your name? And then I shall declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and does them shall be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain came down, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house. And it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them shall be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain came down, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and they beat on that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. And it came to be when Yahushua had ended these words that the people were astonished at his teaching, for he was teaching them as one possessing authority and not as the scribes. All right, very interesting. Not everyone that says to me, Master, Master, shall enter into the reign of the Shamayim, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the Shamayim. And he shall say to me in that yom, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and done many mighty works in your name? And then I shall declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. Okay, so here we have people that sounds like they were doing all the right things, okay, which sounds like they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. But there was one thing all right, that prevented them from entering into the new city. What was that? Well, that was they were working lawlessness, means they weren't obedient. So they must have been going out and working on Yom Shabbat. They must have been having pictures of pagan gods hanging in their house, talking about them, how beautiful the picture was and stuff to their visitors or friends. Maybe they were out committing whoring on their wife or their husband. Maybe they were stealing things from their neighbors. Maybe they were coveting. Who knows? But he mentions you who work lawlessness. Hi, Anthony Rivera. Glad you're here, brother. So, sounds like they were doing everything else correctly, except they were being lawless. They were out whoring. Maybe on their spouse, maybe on themselves, maybe on Yahusha or Yahuwah. Who knows? You break one, you break them all. Obviously, the reason he doesn't know them because they were lawless. They were doing everything else right. See that? So lawlessness is what? Sin. Sin is lawlessness. It can also reference without Torah, the Torah, or Torah-lessness. They weren't obeying the commands of Yahuwah. See? But they were doing everything else. Right? They were prophesying in his name. Maybe they knew his name. They may have knew the true name. It doesn't really say. It says your name. So to me, that tells me they knew his true name. They were maybe even calling his true name. They were prophesying in your name. They were casting out demons in your name. If they weren't using the true name, could they have casted out demons? Hardly. Not likely. I mean, Yahusha made it clear that the devil doesn't cast out the devil. He can't go against himself, or how could his house stand if he goes against himself? I think Yahusha was fairly clear about that. They did many mighty works in his name. Mighty works? What? What were the mighty works? Signs and wonders, miracles? In his name? Well, they had to be using the true name to get the power to do these things. But they were doing something wrong. They were lawless. So perhaps secretly, they were disobeying. They were committing sin to death. So what it sounds like, it's something else, really, if you think about it. Okay, so that means that kind of shows us that we have to be perfect, doesn't it? I mean, we can't just be able to prophesy in his name, cast out demons in his name, do mighty works in his name, and be lawless. It kind of reminds me of the Ezekiel there, where the priest and the women were hiding. The priests were hiding in the inner room of the temple, and they had pictures of the horoscopes and stuff all over the walls in there, and they were bowing down to, worshiping the horoscopes and astrology and stuff, in his temple. I mean, they were out doing everything else they were supposed to do, at least out in public in front of people. But yet in secret, they were committing idolatry. They were committing lawlessness. It's amazing, really. So sometimes you see people and you think that they're like a very obedient person, that they're doing what they're supposed to do, and they're obedient. They're doing all these things that we're commanded to do, but yet in secret, they're doing things they shouldn't be doing. They're lawless, and they may be able to hide that from us. Their sin may not be exposed today or now in front of people, but later on, it will be exposed. and people will see that who they really were, that they were lawless people. If you go to Revelations 22:14, it says, "Blessed are those doing his commands," obeying the law. They're not lawless, they're obeying the law, right? So blessed are those doing his commands, so that the authority shall be theirs to the tree of life and to enter to the gates into the city. So here they're obeying the law. They're being good workers and servants of righteousness for Yahuwah. And so they're doing what they're supposed to do in secret. Sounds like these other people here were not. And what is that? What's that called? Integrity. It's integrity. They have some people have no integrity. That means they can act holier than thou, if you will, or righteous in front of your face. All right. But behind your back, when they're all alone and no one can see them, they are lawless. They lack integrity. Integrity is when we do what is right, even when no one is watching. That's integrity. They have none. These sort of people here that this is speaking of. Okay, let's go to Luke 6. Luke 6. Eric, glad you're here. Diane, glad you're here. I think I said hi to you already, but just in case I forgot. All right. Luke 6, BYNV. And it happened on a Shabbat that he went through a grain field. It's Yom Shabbat here now. It's dark, so. Shabbat Shalom. And it happened on Shabbat that he went through grain fields, and his pupils were plucking the heads of the grain, and were eating and rubbing them in their hands. They're plucking off the heads of the grain, doing this, and then eating the seeds, right? And some of the Pharisees said to them, "Why are you doing what is not right to do on Shabbat?" And Yahushua answered them, said, "Have you not read what Daud did when he was hungry, he and those who were with him? How he went into the house of Elohim, took and ate the showbread, and also gave some to those with him, which is not right for any but the priest to eat. And he said to them, the Son of Adam is master of Shabbat." And it also came to be on another Shabbat that he entered into the congregation and taught, and there was a man whose right hand was withered. And the scribes and the Pharisees were watching him closely, whether he would heal on the Shabbat, for them to find an accusation against him. And he knew their thoughts and said to the man who had the withered hand, "Rise and stand in the middle." And he rose up and stood. Then Yahushua said to him, "I ask you, is it right to do good on the Shabbat, or to do evil, to save life, or to destroy it?" And looking around at them all, he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he did so, and his hand was restored sound as the other. But they were filled with outrage and were speaking with one another what they should do to Yahusha. And in those Yamim it came to be that he went out to the mountain to pray, and was spending the night in prayer to Elohim. He was up all night praying to Elohim. And when it became daylight, he called near his pupils and chose from them 12, whom he also named emissaries. Simon, who he also named Peter or Kepha, and his brother Andrew or Andri, Jacob and Yahuchanan, Philip and Bartholomew, Yahu and Toma, and Jacob the son of Alphaeah, and Shimon, the one called the Ardent One, Yehuda the son of Jacob, and Yehuda from Quirith, who also became the betrayer. We all have a betrayer in our life, but we're walking in the true pattern of Yahushua. You can expect it. And coming down with him, he stood on a level place with crowds of his pupils and great number of people from all of Yehuda and Jerusalem. and from the coast country of Zar and Zidon, who came to hear him and to be healed of their diseases, and those who were troubled with unclean ruachs, and they were healed. And all the crowds were seeking to touch him, for power went out from him, and healing them all. He healed them all. And he, lifting up his eyes toward his pupils, said, well, there's a lot of stuff going on real fast here, wasn't there? Yes, there was. Blessed are the poor, because yours is the reign of Yahuwah. Blessed are you who hunger now, because you shall be satisfied. Blessed are you who weep now, because you shall laugh. Blessed are you when men shall hate you, and when they shall cut you off, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as wicked, for the sake of the son of Adam. So here they're calling good evil. So say you do good works, perhaps something on the Shabbat, you save a life or help someone or an animal or something, and people say, they call you wicked. You're a wicked person because you did something on Shabbat, that was good. You're blessed for that. That's another blessing. That's another reward you're going to get, right? Rejoice in that yam and leap for joy. He's saying rejoice and leap for joy. For look, your reward is great in heaven. See there? There's a reward from Yahuwah. Our treasure is with him. Our rewards are being stacked up in the Shamayim. Not here on the earth like the hypocrites. For that is how their fathers treated the prophets. But woe to you who are rich, because you are receiving your comfort. That's because this is people who are using money for evil purposes, for control of others, to discomfort others, to put themselves above others, not helping people with their blessings. So they're receivers, but they're not givers. That's wickedness. Woe to you who have been filled, because you shall hunger. Woe to you who are laughing now, because you shall mourn and weep. See the contrast? It's powerful stuff. If you're catching this, if you're picking up what the scriptures is laying down, it's very powerful stuff here. Read it over and over again if you're not quite getting it yet. Woe to you when all men speak well of you, for thus their fathers did to the false prophets. Wow. But I say to you who are hearing, love your enemies. Those who are hearing now, love your enemies, do good to those hating you. Bless those cursing you, and pray for those insulting you. So what are we doing? We're doing the opposite of what they're doing. That's how we receive blessings. That's how we stack up rewards in the Shamayim from Yahuwah. By doing the opposite of what they're doing. Not the same thing they're doing to us, but the opposite thing that they're doing to us. You see that? It's very powerful. It works too. Bless those cursing you and pray for those insulting you. What's this telling us, man? Forgive, release, bless, and love. That's what it's telling us, no matter what. If people are forgiving us, releasing us, and blessing us, and loving us, we're going to forgive them, release them, bless them, and love them right back. If people are hating us, holding grudges, cursing us, and hating us, what are we going to do? Natsarim. We're going to forgive them, release them, bless them, and love them. We're going to do the opposite of what they're doing. It brings out huge blessings upon blessings and rewards stacked up in the Shamayim for you. And to him who hits you on the one cheek, offer the other also. And from him who takes away your outer garment, do not withhold the inner garment either. And give to everyone who asks of you. And from him who takes away what is yours, do not ask it back. So if you borrow something, give somebody something, you borrow them something, don't ask it back. You know, if they keep it, forgive them, release them, bless them, and love them. If they bring it back, that's okay too. All right. But don't give to everyone who's asked, but don't expect it back. If you want it back or you expect payment back, then don't lend it to them. Okay? If they steal it and take it, let them have it. Let them have it. What is so powerful about letting them have something they stole from you? Because you're forgiving them. Bless them. Oh, poor man. He needed that so bad he had to steal it. I forgive him, yeah. Don't call me as a witness on Judgment Day. I forgive him. I release him of any thing that's any punishment attached to his stealing from me. And matter of fact, could you please bless him so he doesn't have to steal from anybody else, Yahuwah? Because I love him. He's your creature. I can see you in him. I love him. Wow. I wonder how many blessings would pour down on top of your head. Maybe the windows of the Shamayim would open up and blessings upon blessings would come down into your life. You start thinking like that. Why? Because that's being perfect like your Father in the Shamayim, Yahuwah. You're being perfect in love then. No hate, no grudges, no curses, no nothing. No grudges. And as you wish men should do to you, you also do to them in the same way. And if your love those loving you, what favor have you? For sinners too love those loving them. And if you do good to those doing good to you, what favor have you? For even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those from whom you expect to receive back, what favor have you? For even sinners lend to sinners to receive as much back, or even with interest. You know, you're expecting it back with interest. You know, I used to get upset about people borrowing money from me and not paying me back, but I don't anymore. You know why? Because I don't lend them money with the mindset that I want it back. I just give them the money and don't say nothing. If they bring it back, good for them. If they don't pay me back, I don't really care, because I gave it to them under the pretense that I already knew or I expected not to receive it back. Then there's no hard feelings, is there? If you're going to have hard feelings and hate somebody because he didn't pay you back, then don't lend it to them. Say no. You're better off. Rather, love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting none in return. See? That's what he's telling you to do. That's what he's commanding you to do. And your reward shall be great, great. And you shall be sons of the Most High, because he is kind to the thankless and wicked ones. Wow, wow, wow. Very powerful stuff here. Are we hearing this? If you lend to someone and you don't expect it back, you'll take it back if they bring it so that you don't embarrass them, but don't expect it back. Just give it to them and walk away. Say, I'll never see that money again, and I don't care. You don't expect it back. What happens? Well, first of all, you're showing them love, even if it's an enemy. You do good and you lend, and expecting none in return, what happens? A gigantic blessing's coming your way. That's what's happening. Are you going to be, should we be so naive and ignorant to then somebody will say $100 and then expect it back and get mad and be a grumpy old nut because that person has not come and give us our money that we expected back? And then what happens? We get no blessing. There is no reward. Matter of fact, we may be getting ourselves in trouble for showing that kind of hatred against another person. So if we give it to them and don't expect it back, what's our big reward? How do we know? Because the scripture says so. And your reward shall be great, great. And you shall be sons of the Most High. Huh? I want to lend money not expected back all day long if I'm going to be considered the sons of the Most High. Aren't you? And you shall be sons of the Most High if you do that. What other reward do you want for lending money and not expecting it back? You shall be sons of the Most High? I'm going to do it all day long. And your reward shall be great. Why? Because you're going to be a son of the Most High. How much bigger reward do you need to let that person keep that $100? What? That's a no-brainer in my book. Because he, speaking of Yahuwah, is kind to the thankless and wicked ones. And so should we, being the sons of light and the son of the Most High, because we didn't want the money back. I do it every day, all day long, man. Kidding me? Kidding me? All day long. Therefore, be compassionate as your Father also is compassionate. And do not judge, and you shall not be judged at all. What? Wow. That's almost a shoe-in to the kingdom of Yahuwah, not to judge. It says so right here. And do not judge, and you shall not be judged at all. Wow. That's a shoe-in to the kingdom, not to judge. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned at all. Another shoe-in. Forgive, and you shall be forgiven. Wow. Give, and it shall be given to you. Now, see that right there? That's what I'm talking about. Give, and it shall be given to you. Give. Be a giver like Yahuwah, man. Whatever you give to others, he's going to give it back to you. Probably with interest, knowing Yahuwah. We can never outgive Yahuwah. Ever. He's the great giver. He's the life giver. He's everything. A good measure pressed down and shaken together and running over shall be put into your lap. Oh, man, come on. Are we hearing this? First of all, we lend to people and don't expect it back. Our great reward is to be the son of the Most High. Now he's saying, if you forgive them their debt, you'll be forgiven. Okay, and give, and it should be given to you. For with the same measure which you measure, it shall be measured back to you. And now he's saying, in good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall be put in your lap. That means in this life, man. Blessings upon blessings, because you became a giver and didn't expect anything back. You became the son of the Most High because you became a giver and didn't expect anything back. We getting it now? Powerful stuff here now. Natsarim. If you're wondering why your life is dull and you're not receiving blessings upon blessings, I think we may have figured it out. Wow. And he spoke a parable to them. Is a blind able to lead a blind? Shall they not both fall into a pit? Right. A pupil is not above his teacher, but everyone perfected shall be like his teacher. See, there's that perfected again. Be a giver and not expect anything back. What is Yahuwah? He's a giver and he doesn't expect anything back. What could we give Yahuwah? Come on. Other than to love others and love him, not a whole lot we could give him back. He's got everything. Come on. He owns everything. Everything's his. And why do you see the speck in your brother's eye, but are not aware of the log in your own eye? Or how are you able to say to your brother, brother, let me take out the speck that is in your eye, not seeing the log in your own eye? Hypocrite. First take the log out of your own eye, and then you shall see clearly to take out the speck that is in your brother's eye. For a good tree does not yield rotten fruit, nor does a rotten tree yield good fruit, for each tree is identified by its own fruit. For they do not gather figs from thorns, nor do they gather grapes from a bramble bush. The good man brings forth what is good out of the good treasure of his heart. Wow. And the wicked man brings forth what is wicked out of the wicked treasure of his heart. For out of the overflow of the heart, his mouth speaks. But why do you call me master, master, and do not do what I say? Powerful right there. Why don't you lend without wanting it back? Why don't you do what I say? Wow. I told you would be the son of the Most High, and I would pour out blessings upon blessings right onto your lap if you do it. So why aren't you doing what I say? You sit there and wonder why your life is boring and nothing's happening for you. You're stuck in a rut. Everyone who's coming to me and is hearing my words is doing them. I shall show you whom he is like. He is like a man building a house who dug deep and laid a foundation on the rock. And when a flood came, the stream burst against that house, but was unable to shake it, for it was founded on the rock. But the one hearing and not doing is like a man who built a house on the arets without a foundation, against which the stream burst, and immediately it fell, and the ruin of that house was great. Wow. Wow. Okay, so we all getting that. The foundation is Yahusha, right? We got to build our house on Yahusha. Let's do what he says. If we want blessings, we have to do what he says. If we want to be blessed, okay, we must bless others if we want to be blessed. If we have to give to others and not expect anything back, if we want Yahuwah to give to us and not expect anything back. Whatever we do to others is what he does to us, man. It's that simple, really. Let me see now. Let's go to Matthew 22, verse 33. And when the throngs heard, they were astonished at his teaching. But the Pharisees, having heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, were gathered together. And one of them, one learned in the Torah, did question, trying him and saying, Teacher, which is the great command in the Torah? And Yahusha said to him, You shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being and with all your might. This is the first and great command. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commands hang all the Torah and the prophets. Why? Because you're loving others, man. You're loving them. You're giving without expecting back. You're forgiving them. You're releasing them. You're blessing them. You're loving them. You're perfect. You become perfect like your Father in the Shamayim, Yahuwah. That's why you have no bad thing to say about anyone. You know, I mean, remember our parents or grandparents used to teach us that? If you don't have anything good to say about somebody, don't say anything at all. Boy, they were wise, weren't they, back then? You hardly ever hear anybody saying that kind of stuff anymore. You know, it's all slander, trying to hurt people, you know. But anyways, very powerful here. And it just goes to show you how vitally important it is to love others as yourself, or even above yourself, I would like to say. I'll go that far, say love them even above yourself, if possible, and to love Yahuwah, you know. All the Torah and the prophets hang on these two commands. It's how important everything we've just been talking about this evening is. It all boils down to this. It really does. Everything we've just talked about, studied about, all boils down to this right here. You know, and these aren't new commands. I know there's doctrines out there that teach that these are new commands. And the Tanakh's been abolished, and that's not true. That's so far from the truth, it's not even funny. And these we are found in the Torah. The first and greatest command is found in Deuteronomy 6:4, and this is referred to as the Shema, which means, hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah our Elohim. Yahuwah is one. Shema means hear. It's the first word in that verse. That's why they call it the Shema. And then the second, which is like it, they shall love your neighbors yourself, is found in Leviticus in the Torah in chapter 9, verse 18. So they're not new commands at all. They're universal commands. That's what they are. They're universal commands, and they'll never go away. You know, they'll be written forever. They're universal commands, and they're forever. Everlasting commands. They don't end. Okay, let's get a look at Matthew 25 real quick. Matthew 25, 13. 25, 13. Whew. Man, there's a lot of stuff in this one. Watch therefore, because you do not know the yom or the hour in which the Son of Adam is coming. For it is like a man going from home who called his own servants and delivered his possessions to them. Okay. So he delivered his possessions to them. What would be his possessions spiritually? His sheep, his elect, his people, right? And to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and another 1, to each according to his own ability, and went from home. This is Yahusha, he left. Okay, he went back into the greatness of the Father, into the Shamayim, and left his sheep in the care of others. Some 5, some 1, some 2, okay, to take care of. And he had received 5 talents. The one that received 5 went and worked with them and made another 5. He added 5 more. In the same way, he would do also. He gained 2 more, but he who had received the 1 went away and dug in the ground and hid the silver of his master. And after a long time, the master of those servants came back and settled accounts with them. This is Yahusha, the master of those servants. This is about people, not money. You really think this is about money? Making interest on money? No. Okay, it's about him increasing his kingdom and putting his servants of righteousness in charge of increasing his fold, is what this is about. Okay, and then he who had received the 5 came, brought 5 others with him. Master, you delivered to me, and saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. I have gained 5 more talents besides them. And his master said to him, well done, good and trustworthy servant. You were trustworthy over little. I shall set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. Then he would had received 2 talents. The one who received 2 came and said, Master, you delivered me 2 talents. See, I have gained 2 more talents beside them. His master said, well done, good and trustworthy servant. You were trustworthy over a little. I shall set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And the one who had received the 1 also came and said, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown and gathering when you have not scattered seed. And being afraid, I went and hid your talent in the ground. See, you have what is yours. His master answered and said to him, you wicked and lazy servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. Then you should have put my silver with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received back my own with interest. So it sounds like to me this dude lost the one that he gave him. It sounds like he just came himself. He lost the one, right? Therefore, take away the talent from him. Well, he's taken it away from him. So he definitely lost it now. And give it to him who possesses 10. They give it to the one that increased the most. For to everyone who possesses, more shall be given, and he shall have overflowing. But from him who does not possess, even what he possesses shall be taken away. Wow. And throw the worthless servant out into the outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of the teeth. This is an extremely serious matter here, folks. Okay? And when the son of Adam comes in his esteem, when Yahushua comes back, and all the set apart messengers with him, see, the army on the horses are going to be the Malachim, his messengers, man. It's not going to be the raptured people like Christianity tries to teach you. Then he shall sit on the throne of his esteem. And all the nations shall be gathered before him, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd separates his sheep from the goats. Okay, so this is the white throne judgment here he's speaking of. He shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on his left. Then the sovereign shall say to those on his right hand, come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the reign prepared for you from the foundation of the world. See that? He knows who his sheep are. Okay? He knows who they are. So he brings the sheep in, the goats eat out. All right? They're going into the lake of fire. For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. Was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me. Then the righteous shall answer him, saying, Master, when did we see you hungry and we feed you, or thirsty and gave you to drink? And when did we see you a stranger and took you in, or naked and clothed you? So see here now, these talents have converted over into humans. We can see that now, right? That it was about human beings increasing the reign of Yahuwah, which is called, that we refer to as working the harvest, finding the lost sheep, right? Well, here now, he's come down, he's sitting on his throne, he's come back with his army of Malachim, and he's in the white throne judgment, and he's calling out the sheep from the goats. So what is this? Well, it's the second resurrection. Second resurrection has happened, okay? And when did we see you sick or in prison or come to you? And the sovereign shall answer and say to them, truly I say to you, in so far as you did it to one of the least of these my brothers, you did it to me. He shall then also say, so we're judged, they're going to be judged by their works, okay, and by their words. These are the works, okay? The ones that did these things did what? They brought love into action. So it's not just love is not just lip service. Love requires action to make it a reality. So we're seeing love in action by the sheep and lip service by the goats. They were saying they love people, but they never did put it into action. They didn't do nothing for them. So their words became useless, just mere lip service, no action to prove their love. It's kind of like belief is the same way, right? We have to put our belief into action and into works for us to be able to prove our belief. Without it, then our belief is worthless. It's not worth anything. It's just lip service, same as love. And when did we see you sick or in the prison came to you? The sovereign shall answer and say to them, truly I say to you, and so as far as you did it to one of the least of these my brothers, you did it to me. He shall then also say to those on the left hand, that's the goats, go away from me, accursed ones, into the everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his messengers, the demons. Why? Because they said they loved, okay, but they didn't put that love into action to make it a reality. That's why. There was no action behind love. Love is a verb. It needs action for it to become a reality. For I was hungry and you gave me no food. I was thirsty and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger and you did not take me in. Was naked and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison, you did not visit me. Then they also shall answer him, saying, Master, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or stranger or naked or sick or in prison, did not serve you? Then he shall answer them, saying, truly I say to you, and so far as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into everlasting life. There we have it again. These folks not only did they not put love into action or their belief into action either, okay? They did not, their belief had no works. They were lawless. Their love had no action to make it a reality. They did nothing for nobody other than to use lip service. That's all. They gave them lip service and that was it. So what is that telling us? Well, they didn't forgive, they didn't release, they didn't bless, and they didn't love people. That's what it's telling us. These are they are goats. They were not perfect like Yahuwah in love with people. Forgiving them, releasing them, blessing them, and loving them. No action, man. Just lip service. That's it. Okay? And so, I hope, that we see that connection with what we've been studying tonight or this evening. So now we're looking at, let's go to Romans real quick, 13. Romans 13. And we'll start in verse 9. No, 8. Verse 8. Romans 13, 8. Owe no one anything except to love one another. For he who loves another has performed the Torah. The Torah. All right? So that's kind of sums up everything that we've just learned this evening, doesn't it? Owe no one anything. Expect to love one another. Except to love one another, for he who loves another has performed the Torah. So the lesson of the Tanakh or the Torah is what? Love. To love Yahuwah and others, right? The first and second command. For this, now pay attention to this. For this, you shall not break wedlock, you shall not murder. You shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness, and you shall not covet. And if there is any other command, is summed up in this word. All right, so we're getting a little example here of the 10 Debarim, right? Which are 10 words. Now here he's saying, if there's any other command, it's summed up in this word, one word. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. There it is again. Wow. So he just basically summed it up for us right there. Everything that we've been talking about this evening hinges on that right there. Doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, Yahushua himself said that. You know, on them two commands hangs the Torah and the prophets. And here he's saying, if there's any other command, it's summed up in this word, one word. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. So all the other ones are summed up in that one command, the second command. Love does no evil to a neighbor. Therefore, love is completion of the Torah. See that? You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no evil to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the completion of the Torah. See, it all comes down to love. Everyone. Can you love somebody if you have a grudge against them? If you're holding, you're in reserve, putting yourself in reserve as a witness against them on Judgment Day for their transgressions against you. Do you love somebody if you're cursing them, speaking curses on their life and over their family? Are you loving somebody if you hate somebody, even if it's your enemy? No, of course, the answer to all these is no. Therefore, love is a completion of the Torah. And do this, knowing the time that it is already the hour for us to wake up from sleep. What if you're asleep? There's only two things here it can be, right? You're either dead, those who have already passed away have fallen asleep, or the walking dead, right? The ones that are alive and walking on the earth, but really they're dead. They're like walking zombies, right? Why? Because they don't have the light in them, the light of life, which is who? Yahushua HaMashiach. For now our deliverance is nearer than when we did believe, getting closer and closer and closer to the second coming, right? The night is far advanced. The Yom has come near. So let us put off the works of darkness and let us put on the armor of light. Powerful stuff right there. Let us put on the armor of light. What's the armor of light? Is it a chest plate, a shield, a two-edged sword, and a helmet? No. That's just symbolic. So what's the put on? What is the armor of light? Yahushua, of course. It's Yahushua. Let us walk becomingly as in the Yom, not in wild parties and drunkenness, nor in living together and indecencies, not in fighting and envy, but put on the Master Yahushua Mashiach, which is your armor of light. Put on the Master Yahushua Mashiach, which is your armor of light. And make no provision for the lust of the flesh. Don't reserve nothing. Don't hold nothing back for the provision of the lust of the flesh. Don't allow the flesh to have its way. Okay? Very powerful. The armor of light. Put on the Master Yahushua Mashiach, the armor of light. Let's carry that over to Ephesians 6. Look at Ephesians 6 once. Let's start in verse 10. I'm going to be wrapping her up here pretty quick now. Ephesians 6:10. For the rest, my brothers, be strong in the master and in the mightiness of his strength. Put on the complete armor of Yahuwah, for you to have power to stand against the schemes of the devil. Because we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. Flesh and blood of others is not our enemy, okay? But our flesh and blood is our enemy. We battle against our flesh daily, but not against others. Not against others, okay? Others, we forgive, release, bless, and love them, right? We're only battling against our own flesh and blood. That's who we wrestle against, not against others. But against principalities, against authorities, against the world rulers of the darkness of this age, against Ruach-like entities of wickedness in the heavenlies. And these, of course, would be Hashatan, the devil, and his demonic forces, his fallen Melechim to help him out, his wickedness. So, so far then, our enemies are our own flesh that we battle against while we're still alive inside these bodies. And also the principalities of darkness, Satan, Hashatan, and his demonic forces is our enemy as well. Because of this, take up the complete armor of Yahuwah, so that you have power to withstand in the wicked yom, and having done all to stand. Okay, armor of Yahuwah, armor of light, right? We getting that connection? The armor of Yahuwah is the armor of light, which is putting on Yahushua Mashiach. So that you have power to stand in the wicked yom and having done all to stand. Stand then, having girded your waist with truth. All right, so what's truth? Some kind of a belt we stick on? No, it's Yahusha. The armor of light is Yahusha. The armor of Yahuwah is Yahusha. The girded our waist with truth is Yahusha. You don't believe me? He said so. Truth is Yahusha. I am the way, the truth, and the life. It's Yahusha, period. And having put on the breastplate of righteousness. What is the breastplate of righteousness? Yahusha. Our righteousness is his righteousness in us. It's Yahusha's righteousness. The breastplate of righteousness is Yahusha's righteousness in us. And having fitted your feet with preparation of the Basora of peace. Above all, having taken up the shield of belief, with which you shall have power to quench all the burning arrows of the wicked one. So what's this all about? What's the Basora of peace? Yahusha. What's the shield of belief? Yahusha. Belief in the power of Yahusha to work through us, through our hands. That's what the belief, shield of belief is. We believe in the power of Yahusha to work his signs, wonders, and miracles through the hands of his elect, the Natsarim. It's the shield of belief. You believe in his power. It's a gift. It's not something we can do on our own. We can do nothing on our own. It's all Yahusha, with which you shall have power to quench all the burning arrows of the wicked one, which is the devil. What power? You shall have power. What power? The power of the Ruach HaKodesh, which lives in you. It's his power. It's Yahusha. Yahusha is the power in us. We are empowered by the Ruach HaKodesh, which lives in us. So the power shall have power to quench all the burning arrows of the wicked one. Is the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, Yahusha, in us. Take also the helmet of deliverance. What's the helmet of deliverance? Some helmet we stick in our head so a rock hits us in the head and it doesn't hurt? No, it's Yahusha. Yahusha, I am your deliverer. Yah, your deliverer. Yahusha, the helmet of deliverance. I am your deliverer. Yahusha is the helmet of deliverance. And the sword of the Ruach, which is the word of Yahuwah. What is the word of Yahuwah? Yahusha. Yahusha is truth, man. He's the way, the truth, and the life. The sword of the Ruach, which is, we don't even have to answer that one. It's Yahusha. The sword of the Ruach is Yahusha, but we don't even have to answer that because it tells us what it is. The sword of the Ruach, which is the word of Yahuwah. What's the word of Yahuwah? Yahusha is truth. It's all Yahusha, man. Come on now. That's the secret, really. People try to make that something it's not. Every bit of this is Yahusha. Every bit of it. Praying at all times. See, if you're thinking about him all the time, you're praying to him all the time, you got your nose in the scriptures all the time, you will not commit sins to death, and you will not commit sins not to death. Praying at all times with all prayer and supplication in the Ruach, not in your flesh. In the Ruach, through and in Yahusha. Watching in all perseverance and supplication for all the Kadeshim. Why? Because if you see a Kadeshim, a brother or sister, committing a sin not to death, we can pray for them and Yahuwah will forgive them those sins not to death. That's why we need to keep watch in all preservation, supplication for all the Kadeshim. Also for me, this is Paul speaking now, that a word might be given to me in the opening of my mouth to be bold in making known the secret of the Basora. Extremely powerful here now. This is the secret of the Basora. What is the secret of the Basora? Okay? Everybody listen up on this one now. If you don't catch this, you missed something huge. To be bold in the making known the secret of the Basora, which is, well, I'm just going to read it. For which I am an envoy in chains, that in it I might speak boldly as I should speak. Now, in order that you also might know about me, how I am doing, Tychicus, a beloved brother and trustworthy servant in the master, shall make all things known to you, whom I did send to you for this same purpose, so that you know about us and might encourage your hearts. Peace to the brothers and love with belief from Yahuwah the Father and the Master Yahushua Mashiach. Favor be with all those who love our Master Yahushua Mashiach undecayingly. Amen. All right. All right, so let's go back up here. Also for me, that the word might be given to me in the opening of my mouth to be bold in the making known of the secret of the Basora. Okay, so what's the secret of the Basora? That sounds extremely important, doesn't it? And it is. Okay, so the secret of the Besorah is Yahusha in us. Yeah, everything's Yahusha. That whole armor, the armor of light, in the Master Yahusha, the armor of light, the armor of Yahuwah, all this is Yahusha. Even down to the secret, the what we're speaking about here, the secret of the Besorah here, what's all this about? The secret, the big secret, is it's about Yahusha in us, the renewed covenant. Okay? And to get confirmation on that, turn to Colossians 1:26. Colossians 1:26. The secret which has been hidden from ages and from generations, but now has been revealed to his Kadeshim, to whom Yahuwah desired to make known what are the riches of the esteem of this secret among the nations, which is, here's the big secret now, the Besorah, Mashiach in you, the hope of praise, whom we announce, warning every man and teaching every man in all wisdom, in order to present every man perfected in Mashiach Yahusha, for which I also labor, striving according to the working of him who works in me in power. See, the powers of the Ruach is of Yahusha, not man. So, who works in me in power. See, it's Yahusha doing the work in him with power, man. Through his and working through Paul's hands with power. It's the Ruach. It's Yahusha. The secret of the Besorah is Mashiach in you. That's it. All that's about the Mashiach, about Yahusha. Anybody that teaches you differently, I'd shy away from them. It's all about Yahusha. We can do nothing without Yahusha. He's everything. He's our everything, man. He made everything. He's all in all. He made all, and he is all. He's the armor of light. He's the armor of Yahuwah. He is everything. And the secret to it all, to the whole Besorah, the secret of the whole Besorah is Yahusha in you. The Ruach HaKodesh living in you gives you the promise of everlasting life. You can't get everlasting life without Yahusha. It's impossible. No one goes to the Father except through Yahusha. You have to put on the full armor of Yahuwah, which is Yahusha. You have to put on the armor of light, which is being in Mashiach Yahusha. That's it, folks. That's the evening study. I hope all of you got as much out of that as I did. I thought it was a very powerful study. And wow. You know, it's about all I can say is wow. Thank you, Yahusha, for being with us and teaching us out of your scriptures of truth. You're always welcome here among us, among the Natsarim. Yahusha, you're our head. You're our Elohim. You're our deliverer. You are our armor. You are everything to us. And we thank you for being here. You're always welcome here among your Natsarim, Yahuwah. Okay, folks, there's the live stream, the StreamYard. If anybody wants to come in, you're more than welcome to come in here. If anybody's got anything they want to talk about, if not, and then I'm going to jump off of here. I will be on tomorrow, same channel here, Sparking You is Yah. And we have a Zoom at what we call Zoom at noon. And we all come in and we study scriptures. We finished our study in Acts last week, and now we're going to be studying in Romans. And so it should prove to be a very exciting, awesome study. And so I'll be on tomorrow, 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sparking You is Yah on the same channel. And we call it Zoom at noon. So y'all can come on in, fill it up, and study with us. We get a lot out of them Zoom at noon meetings and studies together. Hi, Gail. Glad you're here. Sandria, glad you're here. Alan, glad you're here. William, glad you're here. Earl, glad you're here. I don't know if I said hi to you guys, but Stolden Clone, glad you're here. Yarua Shalom, Shaul, glad you're here. So, for most of you, I'll be seeing you tomorrow at Zoom at noon then, and on this channel. And, I got one big announcement before I forget. I meant to tell it in the beginning, but I forgot. On this month, the 9th month, 23rd day, on Shabbat Talk, okay, on this channel here, and on this day, Lou White is going to be a guest speaker for us. And so Lou White will be here 9:23, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Sparking You is Yah. And he's going to give us, help us with the study out of the BYNV and other sources, some outside sources as well, about the fall appointed times, the 3 appointed times this fall coming up. The first one comes up on the 25th, I do believe. It's on the new moon. It's called trumpets. Some people call it Teruah. Then we have Kafar and we have Sukkoth, the Teruah. It would be the day of trumpets. And it's also known in the Hebrew as the day no man knows the hour. It's nicknamed that as well. That you don't hear that much nowadays, but it used to be called that a lot back in the older days, the ancient days. And then we have Kafar, which is going to be the Day of Atonement, or simply called the fast. Then between Teruah and Kafar is what they're nicknamed as the Days of All. And then tabernacles, or booths, or tents, or Sukkoth, will be another festival or appointed. It is a festival. It's one of the 3 migration feasts that men 20 and over had to migrate to Jerusalem to celebrate it to Yahuwah. But anyways, Lou White, September, or the 9th month, 23rd day on this channel, is going to give us a great study on the fall festivals, or the 3 appointed times in the fall. So don't miss that. Mark it on your calendar, spread it around, bring people with you. It's sure to bless us. It's going to be an exciting study. I can't wait. Lou does such a great job with the appointed times, as we all know. And other than that, I'll see most of you tomorrow, Zoom at noon on this channel. And thank everyone in the chat room this evening. And they're chatting up a storm and supporting us all and loving each other in there. I see a lot of you, great remarks and comments in there for each other. And that's good stuff. And appreciate y'all doing it and being on there and hanging with us. I know this has been a long one, but and Maybe we can go back to some shorter ones and open up the invite earlier so we can get some participation here in this study. But I thank you all for coming and studying with me. Love everybody. Truth finds love. And remember to stay in love with Yahusha. So long, beloved of Yahuwah. So long, Natsarim. So long, everybody. Well, I'm going to stop. Not yet. Not yet. We have a visitor. False alarm. Hello, Wick.
Hey.
What's happening, brother Wick?
Not much. Hear me all right?
Yeah, man. Did you want to play us a tune? Take us out on a jam?
Yeah, I figured I'd take you out on one.
Oh, fun. All right, brother.
Made it just in time, sounds like.
Yeah, I love you, man. Glad you came on tonight. I'm gonna mute myself so we can hear you. Okay.
All right.
All right, brother. Brother Wick on fire, taking us out with the jam.
Every day's a challenge, but I feel blessed to be alive. Maybe I'm poor of spirit, but I feel it will be alright. Only you could help me connect the dots. Only you can lead me and misguide me now. I'm powerless without you, Yahusha. Please bless my enemies and forget me not.
you so much, Brother Wick on Fire. Yahuwah Baruch you, my brother. Thanks for the jam, man.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Anytime, man. All right, everybody. Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah. So long, Natsarim. Love Yahuwah.
Say a lot.